And the thing is, early in the book, I say I define, I use trans as a really broad umbrella term, but when I talk about specific individuals, I use their self-definition. But I lost an interview because of that, which was really interesting. I had been put in touch with a trans guy, and he was totally up for doing an interview, and he sent me an email. Can you just tell me a bit more about what you're, he'd basically agreed to the interview. Just tell me a bit more about what you're asking. And because I said, I'm interested in talking to, trans kids and youth about their experience. And the email response, he said, I don't identify as trans. I'm a guy. And I thought, wow. And so he said, so I'm out. Like, he wasn't mad. He just said, this doesn't, obviously it doesn't feel right. And I thought, wow, this is really helpful. Like, if I had it to do over again, I would have said, something a bit more general. But for sure, like, some people do not identify as trans, and they're really offended by, they say, I'm not trans, I am a man. That's it. And so, that was interesting, but I always use however somebody identifies. And in terms of, like, I use trans to, very generally describe somebody who doesn't conform to either the binary sex system or who does not conform to the category they were assigned at birth. But there's no limit to the way in which gender can be defined. And I think I'm very excited about that. I would like to see, I think the ideal parenting situation would be to say, there are all these different kinds of genders. And, you might find yourself wanting to define yourself in terms of gender, but these are all the options, and these are only the ones I know about. So, you're going to have to figure out more for yourself. And also, some people don't want to define themselves as gender, and some of the kids that I talked to, they didn't want to define themselves in terms of gender, and they felt that the system was imposed on them, and they kind of had to adopt trans as a way of defining themselves to just create space for them to exist within that framework.